Hello and welcome to the Performance Racing League Premier Tier at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. One of the best races on the calendar, and this season is really hotting up. We're just riding on board with Bank as he rides on his outlap towards his very first qualifying lap of this session. In PRL we have a single timed 20-minute qualifying session, and that determines the order of the grid for the race that follows after about a 5-minute break. Let's just quickly go ahead and find the current standings and update you on the current field. So the last race was Hungary. We had Victor in the Ferrari take the win there, so great job. And right now we have a kind of a two-horse battle as it stands between Ger in the Mercedes and Victor in the Ferrari. Victor is 5 points behind, and I believe it's 50 points for a win in PRL. So you can do the math, it's super close. We're talking, one position difference in a race is almost enough to make that deficit regardless of the order. So a real tight battle. Bank in third is 154 behind, so mathematically he can still win, but this is probably his last chance. So let's ride on board with Bank, see how he does. Rides on the curbs nicely, keeps the car to the left so he can straight up the right hand side, using as much track as possible. You can gain a lot of time on that exit. A late turn in on the apex, that's nice. Oh, ever so slightly misses the apex there. And that's such a hard corner. P1, I believe. Wow. It's so hard because the car does tend to understeer. You have to throw the car in a lot earlier than you anticipate. But this is their first lap, so you can never expect the best right now. It's all about honing in and getting comfortable with the car and the setup. So meanwhile, we do have some decent laps being set. So Kachu with the 143.515. Oliver with the 145.127. But of course, again, just the first laps. Nice traction there. And a 144.668. So that was a nice little sighter lap from Bank. Well done. Alright, let's see who else. Okay, it looks like Cali has 100% battery. I'm going to assume he's on a lap. I say that, but his battery's not being depleted, and I think he just set a lap, so I take it back. Yeah, I think all of these guys have set their first lap. So Dr. Fleek, Adrian, and Odidus are still in the pit. But as I say that, Dr. Fleek is now making his way out. So the ones to watch in this session is Cher, and interestingly, it looks like Victor is not in the session. So whether that means he's either changed his username, no, there's only one Ferrari, that's Dr. Fleek. So really, all Cher has to do in this session is score good points and not do anything stupid. Right now he's sitting in second, so he must be pretty happy with how things are going this season. And the thing with Spa, it's a very long track, one of the longest in the calendar, so there's not many laps in the race, and the sectors are very different. Each sector can always feel like its own track, its own sort of sprint section. And actually creating a car that handles all of the corners well, for example, a Rouge, P1, there's Radion. Actually having a car that handles all of these parts of the track is quite difficult. And certainly this is a much easier track on soft tyres. But as for the race, I very much doubt we're going to see softs unless there are people at the end going for a fastest lap. So Moritz looks like he is on oh my word, and he almost dropped it, but it did well to save the car. Back end just slightly squirreling there. Taking a very, very tight line on the apex of that hairpin and just slightly drops it, turns it a little bit early, bit of back end rotation. That's a shame. But let's go back on with Dr. Fleek. So he's just starting his first hot lap. Carries some good speed, very important. That first corner is a lot more crucial than certainly I tend to realise. And it's absolutely insane. Full throttle, no lift. And the car just sticks. These new 2022 hyper aerodynamic cars with ground effect being used to its max potential, or very close to. Very nice and tidy through there. Turns in nicely, keeps a good amount of speed, already up to 190-ish. Small little mid-corner correction, but executed very nicely. Really on the limit. Great driving. Nice turn in there through the chicane. Keeps third gear, so slightly different to how others are taking it. Certainly these new cars do much prefer higher gears. It helps with the traction, and a 143.6 is the reward, and a second place provisional result. Well done. But as I was saying, definitely with these cars, most people have noticed that exiting in higher gears does lead to more speed. You'll notice some people maybe flick down to a lower gear just to get a bit of rotation, but they immediately flick back up. It's certainly a technique that's been around for many, many years, but yeah, the emphasis on higher gearing this year is pretty insane. It's just something you have to get used to. Let's see who else is on a flying lap. Looks like our current pole sitter Kachu is in the Williams. And now, of course, we can actually see those telemetry changes. So look out on the top right-hand side of your screen. You can see the number at about 30 seconds, so almost identical in the first sector. So we know that Kachu has not only good pace, but consistent pace, at least on this tyre in these conditions. Oh, and quite a heavy lockup. At least on my audio, it sounded like that. That may have cost him a couple of attempts. Hopefully it hasn't warmed the tyres up too much, or the brakes. We have a yellow flag out. It's not going to affect Kachu, that's fine. It's in sector 3, and it should be clear now. Very nice tight line there through the chicane. Nice and early on the power, utilising all the track there, but not taking too much, because you can spin. And yeah, he's gained 0.05 of a second. So it's all going to come down to his braking point and his rotation through the very last chicane. Oh my word, the sounds I'm hearing on my audio, or through my audio speakers. Oh, what a shame! I think he realised when he went in slightly too deep on the penultimate corner, or the chicane, that he knew he had to absolutely ace the exit, so fair play for trying. I think he did the right thing there, actually, just putting his foot down as soon as he possibly could. Still, 1:43.5, that's a good time. So Ger is backing off. Let's see if we can find anyone. Looks like Jesse in the other Mercedes is on a hot lap. Ooh, little wobble. Is the Red Bull going to give him room? I think he did, but he certainly cut it close. So Jesse is up also about 5/100ths if I read my telemetry correctly. Such a hard chicane this. Ever so... Okay, and dives in the pits. Clearly wasn't happy and wants to save his time for a final run. Makes sense, makes sense. He can see his lap time live, so he would have known what to do there. I think he made the right decision. Wow, we are being blessed today. As soon as I switch, they're on a hot lap at the exact right moment. So Morris, the great driver in the Red Bull, on I believe his second run or third run. As Cher retires from the session, I believe that was actually a crash in Eau Rouge. So we'll see if we can monitor this with Morris as we pass through. And yeah, he has completely dropped it. What a scary corner that is. Not the most positive history has occurred at that particular spot on the track. Nonetheless, Morris is making up some good time around here. Wow. Very, very late on the brakes, but gets great turning. That looked the best I've seen that corner taken today. Or so far today, I should say. Wow. Right on the limit. We're talking, you know, a 100th of a second later turn in there, and his whole lap is probably ruined. These are the fine margins in F1 at the highest levels, and these premier drivers are putting on a good show in qualifying today. And look at that, 5 temps up. It does look quick. He's still got a lot of time to make up to the 1:43.5 drivers, but nonetheless, this is a great lap to watch. Very nice. Very tidy lap. And that is a 1:43.898. What a great effort. 7th place, but doesn't tell the full picture. I mean, look at the top 7 drivers. All in the 1:43s, all within 4 tenths of each other. So if anything, Morris will be kicking himself. It looks like he'll have one more lap to go round, recharge the battery, and then one more lap on weaker tyres. So yeah, very frustrating for him, but a great lap nonetheless. So let's ride on board with Adidas as he makes his way towards the end of Sector 2. .6 seconds slower. Let's move on. And looks like yeah, we're doing well today. So Adrian is now making his way onto his hot lap. I don't know if it's an audio glitch or if it's the driving style, but I'm hearing so many lockups. I can't even tell if it's the rear tyres or the front tyres because I'm not seeing tyre smoke. Oh! Wow. I thought he was about to lose it. What is going on up here? Very nice. This car is jolting around a lot. It doesn't even look like a real car. Must be some connection issues. Hopefully not on my side. So he's got some traffic to deal with, but the traffic sensibly has made its way off the track. So much left and right jolting with this car. This can't be natural. It has to be internet related. I mean, I refuse to believe anyone can drive a car like this. But he's up 2 tenths, so yeah, clearly it's just a connectivity issue. Hopefully it resolves itself. It's almost like a weird rallying sort of simulator model at this point. Oh, a bit of a traction issue, but very nice. 1:44.5, 10th place. That's probably all he has time for. So let's see what's going on. We have Kachu on his final hot lap. Let's see if he can beat his current provisional pole time. And where's Dr. Fleek? So Dr. Fleek has 50 seconds to make it. That's easy. So it's going to be a straight shootout, at least between these two. Charlie, I want to say, is not going to make it. I'm going to call that. He won't make it. Callie Rob in the pits. Aiden also on a hot lap. Okay, so we've got at least 3 drivers here in the shootout. Okay, so Kachu, 5 thousandths of a second up. Super consistent driver. Kachu making his way around the first corner. And well done, Charlie takes pole position with a 1:43.0. What a phenomenal lap. But Kachu responds, 4 tenths up. So right now he has about 1 tenth more to gain to seal the coveted pole position. Great lap from Charlie though, in the Aston Martin. And Kachu will have seen this, he will have seen the tyres, so he knows he has to absolutely ace this final corner, which is tremendously difficult, and in doing so, pushes too hard. I don't think it's going to be a quicker lap now, but we'll see. What a shame, what a shame. 1:43.4 though, excellent lap. Let's see what Dr. Fleek can do. I believe Dr. Fleek is a tier 1 driver, but I have quite a strong feeling that may change next season. Up 3.5 tenths. So it's enough for second right now. Very tidy. So many drivers have messed that section up. And as always, the customary yellow flag. And second place for Dr. Fleek, a 1:43.247. He held his nerve, kept his composure, and rounded off a very superb lap around Spa-Francorchamps. Excellent. I believe the only driver remaining is Jesse in the Alpha Tauri. Definitely having some problems, maybe just connectivity issues. Yeah, something's obviously not right because we know 1:58 is not his pace. But nonetheless, that rounds off a phenomenal qualifying session here at PRL, the Performance Racing League. This is the Premier Tier. Your commentator is Lucas Aid. And let's now run through the starting order for the race that will start in around 5 minutes' time. FRL Charlie in the Aston takes pole with an excellent 1:43.0. Dr. Fleek rounds off the top row in second in the Ferrari with a 1:43.2. Kachu takes third with a 1:43.4. Cher in fourth with a 1:43.6. Callie Rob in fifth with a 1:43.8. And Aidan Jones rounds off the third row with a 1:43.8 as well. Seventh with Morris, also with a 1:43.8. And then a little jump with Ank Bank with a 1:44. Jesse in ninth. Oliver in 10th in the Williams, Odidus in 11th in the McLaren, 12th goes to Adrian in the AlphaTauri, and his teammate Jesse rounds off the grid in 13th. This is Lucas Aid. We'll now have a 2-minute break, and then we will return for the race. Thank you. Welcome back. The race is going to begin in approximately 15 seconds time. So here we go, the cars are going to make their way around the grid on the formation lap. Charlie leads the field in the Aston. So as I mentioned earlier, really the championship battle is between Victor in the Ferrari and Cher in the Mercedes. Victor unfortunately was unable to make this race, which is a real disappointment for himself and the Ferrari crew. But Cher has qualified 4th, so he's done a great job to try and solidify his position. He currently has, I believe, a 5-point lead in the championship. So he'll be looking to add at least sort of 25, maybe 30 points on top of that as a bare minimum. Of course, for him, the absolute golden aim would be to get that beautiful 50-second gap, because then, of course, if he DNFs a race, he's still ahead. In order to do that, I think he'll have to finish first, though. So he's got it all to do for that one. Dr. Fleek seems to want the formation lap to be slightly quicker than it is, let's say. The others all playing along pretty sensibly. But yeah, this is certainly one of the best tracks on the calendar. Always produces good races here at PRL. And I know the drivers absolutely love it. Or at least almost all of them do. Some great runs actually. So Callie Rob in 5th. He'll be quite happy with that. I think Aidan will be pretty happy with 6th. Morris in 7th. Ankbank maybe slightly disappointed as he is 3rd in the standings, but certainly his pace was pretty close to the front runners. Jesse, we know he's always good in race trim. Oliver, F1, I believe a tier 1 driver, so really proving himself again in the Premier tier, which is excellent to see. I think him and Dr. Fleek in particular really do time after time show themselves to be Premier quality. And Adrian and Jesse, I think they have more pace than has been shown so far. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform in the race. And just like that, we've already almost made our way back to the start grid. That seemed a lot quicker than I expected. Charlie clearly very happy with his car, happy with the temps. So with that said, let's just get some of these details set up and ready for you as we approach the start of the race. Yep, the Premier boys, they do practice hard, don't they? Unlike some of us. Here we go, all the cars on the grid. 5 lights. They're out, and we're off. It's the Premier tier at PRL. And Charlie makes a pretty good getaway. Dr. Fleek alongside on the left though, but Kachu is sensing blood here, dives it down the inside and maintains 3rd with Ger now running it around the outside. It'll be very interesting to see how they take it through Eau Rouge here. But Ger provisionally is up into 3rd place. Great exit and launch from him. Jesse up 3 places as well. Excellent. But let's see, because Kachu is very hungry. It did look like from the exit he's going to have a good run down here. So let's stay on board. And what we want to see really is in front. Here we go. So Ger pulls into the inside, goes defensive. Oh, Ger's made the move on Dr. Fleek. Oh, and Kachu has put it. He's binned it. He's absolutely binned it. What a shame. He had such a great overspeed. I think what he didn't anticipate was that Ger actually had the speed difference on Dr. Fleek. So maybe a slight difference in setups there. But that really caught him off guard. I think he had to turn more than he expected to and just drop the back end. But Jesse up into 5th place. What an excellent start. But other than the incident with Kachu, it's been very clean so far from the Premier tier drivers. And Charlie just 8 tenths up, really trying to solidify and get a 1-second gap. Makes a small little error on the exit and has now lost a bit of time. So Ger already up 2 places and closing in fast. certainly from the looks of it, Dr. Fleek will have the pace to keep up with these drivers. But let's see how the race unfolds. Oh, Adrian already with a 3-second time penalty. Most likely just from going off the track. Oh! And I think Oliver is going to have an interesting time here. Cali Rob kind of positions himself in the middle, but doesn't deviate. Now, will Oliver get the better exit? I want to say he would just about do so. So it's all going to come down to setup. Certainly no DRS yet. That is only activated on lap 3 and beyond. And it looks like Cali Rob might have a slightly faster setup, because even in the downforce he's just not quite doing enough. Yeah, interesting. Aiden are keeping on the back, on the heels of Dr. Fleek. So a nice tight grid still here at Spa. Jer now just falling outside of the 1 second window very briefly, but I'm sure he'll find a way of bringing it back in. Both with very healthy battery levels as well. So a slight little gap to Cali Rob, but the top 5 are nice and tight. I think Oliver will be looking to try and get that move done on the next lap. The timing has been completely messed up by this game yet again, unfortunately, so it's a little bit harder for me to jump around. But let's just go back up to 5th so we can see the whole train. Maybe some cars didn't hit the timing zones on the game, so it thinks they're a lap down. Because 1:48 is about the right duration for a lap, who knows. Looking clean so far, no one making any mistakes. Dr. Fleet with the fastest lap. Let's have a look at the tyre situation now that we have a bit of time. So everyone's on the mediums except for Charlie, and yet Charlie is still in the lead, so he is going to be super happy. I remember the last time I commentated in PRL Premier Tier was at Silverstone. A very similar situation to this occurred, whereby one driver was on the hards and they found they had no battles going in and out of the pits. They were able to kind of run their own race at an optimal pace, and especially leading the grid it's even easier. So I think all things considered he'll be very happy. And it looks like right now, even with DRS, it's not quite enough to break the train. And Jer just doesn't quite have the pace to match Charlie. The timing screens have fixed themselves, which is good. And yeah, the two AlphaTauri drivers up to 9th and 10th. So that's great to see. Caddy must have made a mistake, which I missed. Apologies. But yeah, down in 12th, and Kashu of course with that spin that we saw on lap 1. So other than those two drivers it's not so bad, and actually they've made their way up already pretty well, so they're not as far behind as it seems. They will of course be... Oh, and Odidus drops it. A very common place to drop the car. How's he faring? He's righted himself. Makes his way up cleanly. Meanwhile, Dr. Fleet, did Dr. Fleet make a mistake? Must have, because that is not normally a place you make an overtake. So Dr. Fleet maybe made a slight little error on exit, and Jesse takes 4th. Definitely the best driver so far in my eyes is Jesse. What a great drive. 5 positions up. And Charlie takes fastest lap with the hard tyre. Wow. Oh, and Dr. Fleet dives in the pits. Yeah, maybe some damage then. Certainly the front of the car. Oh, it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Yeah, some slight end plate damage. Struggling to speak today. What a shame. So now for Jer, we were speaking earlier about how he just needed to win the race in order to secure that 50-point gap in order to survive and still win even with a DNF. Is currently on course to be very close to doing so. But he definitely needs to make the move on Charlie, I think, if he's going to win this race. Alternatively, he will probably need a safety car. Yeah, I can hide the spectator menu. I'm just looking at the comments. That's fine. I'll bring it up from time to time, though, when I'm changing things around. So Oliver and Morris still battling for 5th place. Battle of the Red Bull and the Williams. But holding position so far. And Odidus has absolutely dropped it. Let's see what happens. So, here we go. Drops it. Yeah. A tough corner. Maybe he just slightly touched the inner curb. Flung it off, potentially. What a shame. Is there a safety car? And the answer to that... Oh my word, Dr. Fleek just saves it. Great save from the Ferrari driver, the reserve. So yeah, the game has cleared up the track. The marshals have done an almost unbelievably quick job of clearing that car, and away they go. So Jesse's now only 2 tenths behind Aiden. So whatever Jesse did with his setup, it's absolutely scintillating in the race. And Aiden has no DRS. Oh, so close. So close to being able to make a move. Does well on the braking there. Stay nice and tight without rear-ending. Oh, that was an excellent exit. That's it. Run it wide. Maybe go for the switcheroo. No, it's a little bit too tight around there. I think there's not too much you can do at that point, but he tried. Oh, almost a track limits. It wasn't given though. Surprisingly, I think he lifted off. But this looks to be the battle of the day so far. Jesse doing well to take slightly different lines and keep his car in clean air. Although Aiden is certainly making a few little mistakes, I think he's feeling the pressure. Oh, a little kick off there from Aiden. That may have opened the door to Jesse. Ooh, nice clean exit. It's not going to be quite enough. Aiden just doing enough to hold off Jesse at the moment. It's all going to come down to this exit. Both cars run slightly wide. Oh, a slight squirrely moment from Aiden. This is going to be Jesse's chance. I feel like it anyway. He is right on the gearbox of the Alpine. Keeps full throttle, keeps it smooth. Dr. Fleet now on the soft sets the fastest lap. So Jesse's going to have to go down the outside. This is going to be a very tough move to make. Oh, come on. I mean, I'm just going to move away from that because that was, quite frankly, unacceptable driving. I just have to say it. We tried to be impartial, but that sort of stuff we never want to see. I mean, from what I'm seeing, that looked intentional. I have to just go and say that on record there. So yeah, Jesse down into 5th, Aiden up to 3rd. It was close, tight racing. You know, this is motorsport. You know, a little bit of wheel banging is to be expected. You know, it wasn't like either of those cars was very far ahead of the other. It was very much a 50-50 situation. It was all down to car control, brake management. You know, certainly no reason to be getting angry and running a car to the right-hand side into your opponent. I think with all that said, we'll move on. So Oliver in 4th, doing a great job. As I said, the Tier 1 driver. Sensibly backs out there with a little bit of a traction issue, but he's still doing really well. He's within DRS range regardless. Ooh. Certainly a very audible lock-up there. But it's good to see all these drivers running with sort of no assists and no ABS, or certainly a fair few of them. I know that there are audio issues with the game though, so it's not always certain if it's actually true what we're hearing and what we're seeing. Oh, an Agbank, what's happened? Oh, he's dropped it in Eau Rouge, just like in qualifying with a different driver. And has a safety car come out this time? No. No. So we got yellows in 1 and 3. And looks like we'll be back up to full green in a second. Wow. So the stewards and the race director are being very lenient today. Even at that very, very dangerous section of track that we've seen some pretty awful things happen at. Wow. So Aiden's trying to work his way back up, and he is encountered Jesse. Cher, though, doing a great job in second, 9/10 off the lead. Knows he doesn't have to push it too hard. I mean, this is a massive points differential for him if he can just keep it together. I'm sure he would happily end the race right now if he could. Oh, an issue. Is that with... Wow, is it... I want to say... It's an alpha in the pits? I'm not sure. We'll find out. Let's ride on board with Charlie. We've not really been on board with him much because he's done such a stellar job. On the hard tyre, don't forget. Wow, 1.5 second gap, just cruising along. Really in the zone, well done. Morris picks up a 3-second time penalty, that's a real shame. Maybe it was the entry. It was Eau Rouge itself. Maybe someone with more knowledge of this track than me, because I've forgotten half of these corner names. Because I believe Eau Rouge is the entry on the hill, right? So it goes for like left, right, left. And I think Eau Rouge is the entry point, right? And then there's actually a different name for the corner that's the left-hander off camber up the hill. I think so. If it is, maybe someone message me what the name is. If not, I'll look it up later. Ooh, so we just see Adrian run a little bit wide there. But yeah, this race has become slightly processional, it has to be said. It's still an interesting race. A few mistakes as well, so only 9 runners left. Certainly less than I anticipated, but the grid only had 13 to start, so all things considered, it's pretty standard. Let's hope for some bigger grids next time around. Oh, and Cher down into 4th. Oh no, so Cher's made a mistake. He's kept it together. Let's look at the car. And the car looks okay, so maybe just a small mistake. Hopefully he can maintain his tyres. And, oh, as we say that, Morris runs wide. So yeah, okay, here we go. A little bit of excitement being introduced into the race as Oliver dives in the pits, as does Cher. Okay, so Morris and of course Charlie on the hards are continuing. Oliver and Cher blink first. Excuse me. So Kachu's doing well, some solid pace. You know, he's already made his way back up to 5th. He's on the mediums and yeah, solid drive, good recovery. Of course, you know, cars are pit and everything, but still, better than where he was a few laps ago. Jesse stays out. Aiden stays out, so yeah, Jesse. Interesting. Oh, so Cher falls all the way to the back of the grid, and Aiden's on the hard tyres. So that might not have been quite what he wanted, if we're being completely honest. Yeah, I mean, the tyres are 2 laps older, but yeah, he's got to be very careful here, Cher. I think he was trying to get out ahead of Aiden. But yeah, certainly Oliver is quite a bit ahead, so it looks to me like Cher had some wing damage. I didn't actually stay on board for the pits, but my guess is he had to have a longer pit stop than normal. So that may have actually cost him quite a lot more places than we realise right now. So 3 medium runners still going. Most likely will pit this lap or the next. A lot of time penalties now as well, so Oliver picks up his first. Oh, a late commitment there. Just keeps hitting those lines. And he's in. Charlie, meanwhile, of course, slings off into the distance on those hard tyres. Let's actually stay on board this time for the exit. So it looks like Kachu has gone in the pits as well. And yeah, Morris comes out with Oliver just behind, but Oliver's going to have a better speed exit or higher speed on exit. It won't be enough though, I don't think. It is a very long straight though. It really does surprise you how much cars can make up time through such a long straight. Of course, if you exit even a mile an hour quicker, look like this. For the whole duration of the straight, you are gaining time because it's all about differences between you and your opponent. So there you go. Oliver then makes the move look very easy. So super, super tight margins. And Morris now essentially rejoins back in fourth. But Charlie, wow, a nice 26-second gap. Looking comfortable. Cali Rob with an earlier mistake that we missed. But yeah, he's at this point just trying to set the fastest laps he can to keep himself in the race. Let's just take a little look at the penalties. So yeah, only 3 drivers each with a 3-second pen. Not so bad. And what's happened here? Oh, Adrian's binned it and a lot. I think that's... Do you know what? I think that might be a yardage board. Not his wing. So he might be okay. Yeah, looks okay. Could be worse. But returns to the back of the grid, unfortunately. So Jer now up into 7th, as I said earlier, would not have been at all happy with how he came out of the pits. He's going to have to make a lot of moves now. You know, realistically, he's lost about, well, 3 or 4 places. He made that small little mistake just before the pit phase, and it just compounded. If Victor's watching, he'll be absolutely loving it. But as we say this, Cher has a much, much better exit, I think, than Aiden. This should be a bread and butter move. Ooh, quite a lot of lift from Cher, so clearly in the dirty air he's learnt not to push his luck too much. And yeah, DRS does the job for him. This is a much different move to earlier, because here Cher has such an overspeed. He can just dictate the corner, he can turn back to the racing line and take control. You know, it's not one of those 50-50 situations where you have to be very careful. Wow, just catching my breath. So Morris not quite able to make the move on Oliver, but certainly very close. Oh, and Oliver makes a mistake, and that really opens the door. Straightforward move now for Morris. Moves up into 3rd with 2-lap fresh hard tyres. Great job. And what about Charlie? He has 11 lap old hards, so he'll be looking to run probably 8 laps more, 9 laps more before he pits. We'll see. There's different strategies here. You know, people can two-stop. Let's just wait and see. And here we go, Oliver gets back past Morris with the DRS. Not a lot Morris could do there, but sensibly leaves the door open, doesn't want to fight it too much. You know, they've got much bigger things to worry about. They've got Jesse behind and they've got Cher behind, and they just want to keep their track positions, but also their time differential to the cars behind. Yeah, unfortunate with Adrian, he was doing well, just made a couple of little mistakes. Same with Jesse, did really well to make some time up, but the unfortunate DNF. And certainly Dr. Fleek had great pace, just one mistake, all it takes. You know, these guys are racing on the limit. Just reading the chat. Yeah, So we got a bit of support, a bit of love for Aidan Jones. I hope the 2007 doesn't mean he was born in 2007, because, wow. What a young, fast driver, if that's the case. Just making me feel old. But he certainly had some interesting moments in this race. I won't speak about them. I think they will get spoken about afterwards. But, yeah. We'll see what happens. He's doing really well, actually. And as we say that, Kadirov dives in the pits, so Aidan now moves up naturally to 6th, and he is closing in, it seems, on Cher, despite losing the place a couple of laps ago. So looking really good from him. Oh, Morris closing in on Oliver, so this fight is definitely the best fight so far. These two have been at it all race long. And Morris knows he can't quite keep that pace around the outside, around the back, and has to concede. But the track is so interesting, you know, each section drives differently, and even if you lose a place in sector 1 or sector 2, you can often stay within DRS range, so that come Eau Rouge, you have the DRS to maybe make a move and get back to place. Certainly what you need to really do is overtake in DRS and then absolutely ace your lap, you know, ace sector 2 and 3 in particular, and then make sure that they're not within that 1 second gap, but much easier said than done. That's why you see so much great racing here, lap after lap. Oh, and Oliver drops it and it's completely out. That may be a safety car. Very nasty accident there from Jesse. Maybe just a bit of dirty air. And yeah, I'm seeing sector 1, 2 and 3 flags. That's a full safety car deployment. So Charlie has just pit onto the mediums. Might be a bit annoyed because he could have probably now run a lap longer and then pit onto the hard tyres. But instead, you know, it's frustrating for him, but at the same time, he's still in the lead. He has now made his pit stop. But yeah, the timing could have been a bit better for him. Certainly Morris and Cher are going to be very happy indeed. And this is going to make the race interesting. But yeah, really unfortunate for Oliver. He was driving so well. He was providing great entertainment. Just a little bit trigger happy perhaps in dirty air. We've all done it. So easily done. What a shame. So yeah, Jesse in the pits goes on the soft tyre. Interesting. So to go on the soft tyre... Oh, wow. Yeah, I was about to say, I think that is Jesse's place, not Adrian's, but sensibly he concedes. I think that might have ended quite badly for him, if he didn't. And yeah, it's just interesting to see. Normally when I pit on softs, I'd pit later on in the stint, because of course you're going on softs because you're trying to make up positions on track and maybe get a good lap time. You've come out 7th, he might as well be 8th and have really fresh softs, because you'd be amazed how quickly these things drop off. So even just pitting 1 lap later under a safety car makes a big difference. I very much doubt the safety car is going to come in this lap. I could be wrong though, I could be wrong. And yeah, just reading Sir's comment, that's a really great one, because yeah, as I said, each sector is almost like its own racetrack, and as you say, low downforce, you need that for sector 1. That's the main overtaking zone. So I think most cars tend to gear up for sector 1, but then as you say, it means they get the move done, but they can't actually build a gap up in 2 and 3, which then leaves them susceptible. So yeah, very much kind of cat and mouse, but I think prioritising sector 1 normally does it for you. Or of course, as was the case in 22, just have a vastly superior car in every single department, and then you really couldn't care less what you do, you just win. So Morris, yep, sensibly makes his way in the pits. I wonder, does he have a second pair or set of hard tyres? I don't know, this is an interesting call here. What's he going on? It's going on soft tyres. Do they reckon that they'll be okay for 7 laps on softs? Because my brain's saying no, I'll be honest. Even if the safety car goes an extra lap, so they're not having to run them too hard. I don't know, that seems really risky to me. But the fact everyone's doing it, and these are Premier tier drivers, tells me maybe they're right. But then I'm seeing Cher, who's the championship leader, not doing it. That's certainly what I would be doing right now. So I don't know, maybe message in the comments if you have some sort of insight I don't have. But my brain is saying that this is too early to go on soft tyres. So let's have a look. We're just bunching our way up. So it's going to wait. So Adrian will need to catch the grid up. Ideally before the safety car hits the sector 3 mark, I believe is how the game's programmed. So I want to say there's going to be... Depends how hard Adrian pushes it, but I think there'll be one more lap of safety car after this one. Which means that some of these soft tyres will already be 2 laps old, for example, Jesse's. Yeah, I suppose they're gambling, but then there's 8 cars. 8 cars, so you say, yeah, the gamble's better, because if it fails, you come 8th. But at the same time, if you're Cher, you might just be thinking, well, you've just all given me the win. So, I don't know. I don't know. It'll be interesting. It's certainly going to be a case of some really intense battles and then seeing how they fare on the last couple of laps. So definitely stay tuned, because I think the race is going to become really interesting. So Aiden has made his way back up. Yeah, they've all grouped up in time for sector 3. Let's hope the safety car comes in this lap. And again, yeah, definitely some connectivity issues with Adrian. He's also got a fuel warning. So needs to be really careful. Or is that just a glitch for everyone because it's safety car? Maybe it's a safety car thing, I don't know. We'll ignore that for now. While we're waiting, let's have a look at the race director. Oh, or not. The game deciding I'm not worthy. There we go. Lap 4. Yeah, Angbank out on lap 7. That was a real shame. And then Oliver on 13 that most people saw. So pretty clean so far. A few penalties, but nothing crazy. And is the safety car coming in this lap? That's the question. I've not seen a notice. Maybe it was whilst I was paused. Hopefully not another lap. We don't... Yeah, it looks like we're fine because the safety car's slung. So yeah, it's going to be a restart. Good news. And Charlie goes really early. He gave a great gap to the safety car to allow him to do so and just went. And Ger was not expecting it. And he's already 1.2 down. Excellent driving from Charlie. Well done. Morris has lost the place to Kachu. So Kachu, with that early mistake where he spun it, has already made his way back up to 3rd. Gets a little love tap from Morris. Gets ghosted, and now, of course, because of that back end being lost, Morris gets the overspeed. Might not be too happy about that one. And Jesse is now right side by side with Kachu as they make their way through a rouge. We're going down the main straight now. Sensibly backs out, and Kachu has the place for now. Of course, no DRS activated as it stands. But what that has done, as is often the case of Spot, it's left the door open for the car behind. In this case, Aiden. It's a repeat, and Aiden runs slightly too deep. Oh, and he gets tagged by Cali Rob in 8th. Cali Rob just cannot get any luck. I think he's got damage from that as well. Absolutely nothing he could do. Aiden looks beached or something. He sensibly resets the car. That's absolutely fine. He definitely was stuck. And now we make our way back. So Jesse and Kachu 4th and 5th. And Ger just sitting back on the hards, probably just praying at this point that no one taps him. Wow, an interesting restart to say the least, but what did you expect? These cars are on such different tyres. They're on such different tyres, such different speeds, different temperatures, and yeah, it's hard to race in these sorts of conditions at the really sort of tight, high level that these guys are at. It'll be interesting to see if Cali Rob needs to pit, because it looked like he went straight into Aiden. Of course, not his fault at all. But yeah, we'll see. What a shame. Only a few laps left here. I think 7 laps left. Or 6 laps left, sorry. So Jesse 6 tenths behind. He's currently our closest runner. Charlie setting the fastest lap on the softs now. Just showing he can do it on any tyre. Doesn't matter. Oh, bit of contacts. Yeah, could have given a bit more room. I mean, he already had the overspeed. Let's see how they fare through here. And Jesse is spun. I think that was, in my eyes, from what I saw, that was just a racing incident. Certainly neither car was going to back out. And if you don't back out and you try and keep it on the limit, these things happen. You know, that's a really tight section of track. So I think that was an inevitability, I'm afraid. And yeah, Charlie 4 seconds away on the soft. I questioned the decision. So far it looks like it's working, but still, if the tyres fall away on lap 21, then you have to do 2 laps on deteriorating tyres, and the hard of 8 laps old is not going to deteriorate. In fact, it probably won't get slower at all. So, yeah. And as we said earlier, Cher, he's trying to win the championship. So if he ends up finishing 3rd instead of 2nd now, well, it's still fine. Main thing for him is not to get caught up in a battle with perhaps a more novice, excitable driver on the soft tyres, which is not at all a diss or anything like that. But Cher is the one that needs to win the championship, not the others. The others are just trying to get the best finishes possible. So Morris certainly has great speed. Is he going to now swing to the right? No. He's not. So he's going to try and get a really nice slingshot launch out onto the first straight. Don't think it was quite enough. Maybe. No, good. Well driven from Morris. Great, sensible driving. He'll have the inside, but provided that Cher handles things properly, he should get a better exit onto the main straight. Yeah, so he is now back out ahead. I think Morris was really respectful. You know, that was really nice to see. Probably knows that it's not his championship. But nonetheless, when DRS is activated, I believe next lap, is it? Then, yeah, it should be an overtake, I would say. Oh my word. And there's a yellow. Okay, so that was great sensible driving from Morris there. He spotted the safety car and immediately backed out. So what has happened here? Well, wow, this race just keeps having twists and turns. Well, Aiden has been handed a way back into the race. I now expect every driver to be on soft tyres. And certainly the ones at the back can put on a second set of softs. I think they all have 2 sets of softs. Cher and Kachu will have 2 fresh. The others should still have 1 fresh set, if my knowledge of the game is correct. So we'll see how they fare, but I'm expecting many pit stops. Charlie must be really disappointed. A 7-second gap. I mean, what more can he do? Keeps driving flawlessly. I've not seen a single mistake from him. It's motorsport though. Absolutely motorsport. This could well be a situation where somehow the race is taken from him. As for why the safety car came out, honestly, I have no idea. Every other incident I've been able to identify on track. This one, I'm really not sure what happened. Because no other drivers have gone out, right? We've still got a top 8. Oliver was the last driver to go out on, I think, lap 13. But nonetheless, the safety car's come out. I have to say, it seems like the game is very misleading and confusing. Because I saw 2 crashes earlier that should have been safety cars. So we should have had probably 3 safety cars this race. Instead, we've had 2, but this second one seems a bit nonsensical. But yeah, certainly it's maybe the admins. Maybe the admins can manually stimulate safety cars. Who knows? Maybe Michael Massey has returned. He's been demoted to PRL. Who knows? Yeah, no. Well, you know, you have to be in it to win it at the end of the day. You can't win a race unless you're quick, but yeah, there's always a bit of luck. You don't end up 3rd place in a championship, though, with luck. That's impossible. Not with this many races. So the grid should bunch up pretty swiftly, and as I called, all the drivers now on fresh softs. The top 2 aren't. Is that because they've already used 2 sets? Because I want to say that maybe these 2 maybe Jesse had gone on the soft tyre like right at the start or something. Let me have a look. Yeah, so 3 stops from... Okay, only 2 stops from Jesse. Maybe not then. Yeah, I'm trying to work out why these cars aren't on fresh softs, because of course now, if they were to pit, they'd be in major trouble, so they can't pit. Maybe it was just the timing of the safety car. I mean, hopefully it was just a bit of bad luck, but either way, these 2 may well be sitting ducks on the very last lap. Just depends how those soft tyres evolve. Cher, definitely. I think right now, if I had to bet my money, I would put it on Cher. Despite how well Charlie's driving. I have to say I'm a little bit anxious. I do see a crash happening. And, well, I mean, I do feel like something bad will happen. We'll see. That's true, actually. Yeah, certainly they'll already be in the window. They won't have any issues. I don't know. I think, personally, I'd rather have the fresh ones because they've had time under safety car to get a lot of heat in them. I'm a little bit surprised though that Cher and the others aren't working the tyres as much. I think I'd be really rapidly going left, right, getting heat in. But you know, they know what they're doing. They're better drivers than I am, that's for sure. Yeah, Agbank's confessed to manipulating the safety car. That was a joke, in case no one understood the joke. Just seeing as it's recorded, he hasn't actually done that. It's just Codemasters. So one more lap of safety car because we're waiting for Cali Rob to sensibly make his way back up. Well, he's been given a way back in. Certainly it's interesting how this race has evolved, and we essentially have a really exciting what's going to be 2-lap shootout, all soft tyre grid. The 2 drivers with penalties will be absolutely kicking themselves. Easier said than done around here though, penalties are quite easy, it's a very long lap. Wow, I mean, for the other Europeans in the game and in the Twitch stream, listening in, tuning in, certainly daylight saving time has made the UK at least so dark right now. I mean, it's 5 o'clock and I cannot even see outside. Just turned all my lights on. So hopefully the safety car will be in this lap. The main battle is going to be between sort of, well, all of the cars of course, but Cher in particular needs to make sure that he does not get himself eliminated and banks as many solid points as he can on his rival Victor in the Ferrari, who unfortunately could not attend this race. As for Aiden and Cali, they'll just be looking to make up as many places as they can and recover what has been quite an unfortunate race for them, especially in the case of Aiden, just few unfortunate incidents. Oh, and thinking about it, you know the whole safety car thing, I was saying that I didn't realise what it was. Was it maybe the spin? Was it the spin with Jesse that maybe triggered it, even though he recovered? I'm not sure. Could have been that, because it was a big collision and when he dropped it at Eau Rouge. I don't know. Cool. So this is the restart, and Charlie yet again is leaving a huge gap so that if he wants to he can jump early. He's done the exact same strategy again, and this time the sister Mercedes has not clocked on, but I think Cher was anticipating it. So Cher certainly looking like he had the best exit other than Charlie, but well done to Charlie again. I mean, if it works, keep doing it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, as I think the Americans say. They love to use the word ain't. Oh, a little bit too much power through the rear tyres on exit, but still keeps it nice and clean. So we've got Cher and Jesse really fighting it out here. I wonder what Jesse will do. This is his teammate. He knows what's at stake. Could this be a crucial defining moment of the season? It could well be. Jesse sensibly lets his teammate through and has enough space that Morris can't quite capitalise. So that was crucial, I think, for the championship. We may well go back to this moment when we look back. DRS will activate 2 laps after safety car ends, so actually there will be no safety car, right, for this race. It's just going to be a straight shootout on soft tyres. So certainly having that low downforce S1 setup is going to pay dividends here. Slightly less overtakes than expected on restart. I think everyone's playing it a little bit safe. But Morris now catching up onto the back of Jesse. Runs quite wide though, compromises his exit through the chicane. Yeah, Kachu makes up ground. Oh! Oh, Morris so nearly dropped it. Used a little bit too much of the track, or a little bit too much of not the track. Oh, Morris just squeezes it down the inside, but he is going to have the outside for the chicane, which should see him take the lead, or take third place, I should say, over Kachu, and sensibly keeps a great line. Excellent, intelligent driving there from Morris. And that, as always with Spa, leaves the driver that's just lost the place vulnerable. So Kachu will now dive down the inside, making up great places here. Kachu up into fourth, sensibly gives room, and Jesse will get a much better exit. And of course, with no DRS, I don't think Kachu will come back. But having said that, he is a lot closer, so this could well be a setup issue. Oh, be careful not to tap. One small little tap there, and you can absolutely obliterate someone. Here we go. Oh, and look at that. Who's this? Adrian just went past both. He said, I don't know what... Oh, my word. That's so unfortunate. I don't actually know quite what happened. There was just too much going on for my brain to compute there. But either way, Adrian made a great little move getting past both. And I think he locked up. Oh, what a shame. Either way, something pretty bad happened there. So far, this Premier Tier race has been made at Sector 1, and I actually forget the name of that chicane section, but the amount of overtakes going on there has been insane, and incidents. Let's have a little look at the penalties. So yeah, Morris was 6 seconds now, so Morris is in real trouble. Despite racing well, he's going to probably end up last. What a shame. Yeah, good spot. Adrian was running well with his 3 second, but and wow, the overspeed he had was phenomenal. I was not expecting to see that. It reminded me of the Mika Hakkinen Schumacher overtake in what, like 2000? I don't even know. 2004? I don't even remember. I think Cher can win, but unfortunately, it's not quite enough. Charlie takes the win in the Aston Martin. What a great result. Well deserved. He absolutely deserved the win. Cher in second in the Mercedes. Cali Rob takes home third in the Alpha. What a fantastic recovery. I mean, there was just so much going on there. I could barely keep up in the last lap or two. But a great drive from these Premier Tiered racers. And there's going to be certainly some really big winners and losers and disappointments. But I think we can all agree that the winner was absolutely the right one. Very well deserved. I would actually give my driver of the day to Charlie, just for managing to soak up the pressure with all those safety cars and seeing it home. I didn't even see the final cars cross the line because they all crossed so quickly after each other that it just went straight to the podium. So a fantastic result for the Aston boys, and Cher will be the most happy on the grid for sure. He will almost be, I believe, at the 50-point gap to his rival Victor now, giving him an entire DNF's worth of points leeway. But let's take a look through the final finishing order. Of course, there will be some stewards' investigations, I have absolutely no doubt, based on what I saw. But Charlie takes a really well-deserved win, and also with fastest lap. So fantastic job. Cher with a nice, well-earned second place in the Mercedes. And Cali Rob, I don't even know where he came from, quite frankly. I mean, he was in 8th for so many places. That final safety car really gave him that second wind that he needed. And he rounds off the podium in 3rd place in the Alpha. I'd love to watch back as to how that quite unfolded. I think it was the crash with a few of the drivers earlier involving Adrian and I think Morris, but nonetheless great result. Jessie comes 4th in the Mercedes, the sister, had some interesting moments but kept clean towards the end. Aiden in 5th, I think he'll be overall satisfied with that, but he definitely could have challenged for the win, I think, in different circumstances. Morris takes 6th in the Red Bull due to the penalties, just really unfortunate. Adrian 7th, Kachu 8th, Oliver 9th, Angbank 10th, Jesse 11th, Dr. Fleek 12th, and Odidus rounds off the grid in 13th in the McLaren. The last 5 drivers all DNFing, unfortunately. But that is it for our coverage of the Performance Racing League Premier Tier event at Spa-Francorchamps. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned because I believe, we haven't confirmed it yet, but there should hopefully be a spectator, or a commentator I should say, for the Tier 1 race, and that will start in approximately 13 minutes. If not, it'll be an hour and 43 minutes until the tier 2 race, which definitely has a commentator from what I'm seeing. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend. And this is Lucas Age, your commentator. Thanks a lot.